Karen, are we set up?
Yes, it has. The recording has started.
Excellent. So that being said, kind of do some layer introductions here. Can't see all the users on the system, but we'll try. First off, my name is John Hayworth, and I am the licensing and retaliatory tax manager here at DFR. And Scott is back with us, making sure I do this right. Scott, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Some of you may remember me from the beginning of this process, but had a little issue that took me out for a couple months, and I'm glad to be back. My name is Scott Klemke, and I'm here to assist John in this final RAC meeting.
And Karen, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karen Winkle, the rules coordinator for the division, and I will be filing this rulemaking once we get it finalized.
Excellent. And do we have anyone else from DFR on, Karen? Trying to get set up here.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
this is,
John.
go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Whoever was speaking. I'm sorry.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Jesse O'Brien. I'm the policy manager with the division.
And I'm Eric Bredesen. I am the property and casualty product regulation manager with the division.
And Tricia.
Good afternoon. Tricia Goldsmith. I'm the manager of our consumer advocacy section here at the division.
And Spencer Peacock, you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. I'm Spencer Peacock, part of the business analytics team here with the division.
And it looks like that's all the folks from DCBS. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Andrews. I'm a PNC market analyst for the division.
Excellent. So I'll kind of introduce or have the following then kind of introduce themselves real quick and who they're with. So Brandon Vick.
Hey, Brandon Vick with National Association of Mutual Insurance Companies, coming at you from the road today.
Excellent. Stay safe out there. And Jennifer Muse. I think she's on mute. How about John Powell? Oh, she's at the airport.
John Powell, representing State Farm.
Excellent. And Kenton.
Kenton Bryan, Northwest Insurance Council. Glad to be with you. Thanks.
Excellent, Kenton. And Michelle Druce.
Michelle Druce, Oregon Consumer League.
And Mike Eliason.
Hi, everyone. Mike Eliason. I'm here for Independent Agents and Brokers of Oregon.
Excellent. And Montana.
Hi there, Montana Llewellyn with the Northwest Insurance Council.
Glad you're here. How about Carrie Olson, please?
Hi, Carrie Olson with Mutual of Enumclaw.
And Pauline.
Hi, Pauline Alewa with Progressive.
Okay. And Danelle Ritter.
Hi there, Denny Ritter with the American Property Casualty Insurance Association.
And Sage Johnson.
Hi there, Sage Johnson with Oregon Consumer Justice.
Sean Miller.
Good afternoon, Sean Miller with the American Property Casualty Insurance Association.
Great, Sean. And Veronica.
Hi, Vaughn Slake with American Family Insurance.
Excellent. Glad you could all attend. Is there anyone I missed? I'm going through kind of the people that are showing up on my screen. Going once, going twice.
Hi, yes. Isis Thornton Saunders on behalf of Professional Insurance Agents of Oregon.
Excellent, thank you. And I don't see any other folks, so I think we've got it covered. So I think the kind of get back into some of the housekeeping reintroduction. We're going to go through quickly on the insurance premium increase transparency notices. Karen has thoughtfully put up the agenda in front of us. Again, kind of proposed some of the draft rules here with some of the changes. Again, this is all being recorded just to make sure that we've got some continuity in the process. Maybe we missed something. We're then going to have a discussion on the statement of need and fiscal discussion. It's basically a determination of impacts. Be a quick opportunity for any public impacts or comments. And then listing out next steps, looking at RAC comments Friday, December 19th. I know right in time for the holidays. Looking at having a public hearing for rulemaking in February of 2026. Any public comments would be due after that. Scott's going to go over this a little bit more in depth, but just making sure everyone's kind of aware of what the agenda is. So without further ado, Karen, can you bring up the proposed language, the clean copy there? There we go. So for those who may not have been with us last time, language here really has not changed, but we do have rule numbers. So it's basically listing at that are adopted pursuant to the general rulemaking authority. So we've got something that's basically codified. Again, sub 3, House Bill 2563 requires insurers to give a clear and reasonable written explanation for an increase in the amount of premium the insured must pay upon renewal of a personal auto, home, or dwelling fire policy when written request from an insured is received. So kind of give you an overview of the statute and of course the authority. So you move down to the definitions. Karen? Okay, and really have not made a whole lot of changes. I don't think we've done any other than we got the rule number up there. And again, we are basically restating that HB 2563 again states, as I move some of the text out of the way, that a clear, reasonable written explanation of a premium increase from an insurer must include all, but not more than 4 of the factors that most significantly contribute to the premium increase. Now, it doesn't mean, and the rule talks about it, that carriers are obligated or they could provide more than 4, but we're looking at not more than 4 as a requirement. You may have a circumstance of where only 1 or 2 are major factors, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So sub A provides that no fewer than 1 factor that significantly contributed to the premium increase as defined in subsection 2 of the section, which then you get down to number 2 there. Talks about a factor significantly contributes to a policy premium increase from one policy term to the next when it exceeds 2% of the current policy premium and ranks in the highest for impacts on a dollar increase basis of all rating factors that change. So do we have any questions or discussion on this? Okay, sounds good. We'll move to the next section then, Karen. So item 3, if no individual factors can be identified by the insurer as significantly contributing to an insured's premium increase as defined in subsection 2 of this section, which is on the prior page, the insurer must provide a reasonably clear explanation to the policyholder that includes policyholder specific information about factors that generally contributed to an increase in the premium. And then sub 4, if a insurer determines that all the factors contributed to insured's premium increase result from a policy changes initiated by the insurer may respond to a premium increase notice request with information provided in a manner to be determined by the insurer that the increases were due to a policy change initiated by the insured. Again, kind of an example, I get renewal and it's like, wow, my premium went up drastically, but maybe I changed limits somewhere midstream. My 16-year-old kid got in a car accident, okay. Maybe it wasn't reported correctly, whatever, that may have some impacts. Maybe I changed deductibles, something like that. We're just trying to figure out why it increased. Now, if it's something that was initiated by myself, they basically say, well, that was basically a change from you. You may also have circumstances where they move a block of business from company A to company B and the holding company. It's a new policy, but I think people have an obligation to understand what was quoted was in fact what shows up on the binder for the policy description on the deck page. Anything, Sky, have any other?
No, I think you got it.
Okay. Any questions on this, folks? Good. Well, then we'll move into the premium change explanation, which has its own rule number for 836-054-0120. And this is the one where people have been a little bit in the weeds on the premium change explanation. And again, we basically reiterate what House Bill 2563 sub 6 states that the director of the Department of Consumer and Business Services may prescribe by rule the form, format, and contents of the written explanation and statement described in section 3 of this section, and any required elements of an insurer's offer to renew a qualified policy or notification of an automatic renewal of a qualified policy. This section outlines the explanation required and minimum amount of information to include in the contents of the premium change notice. And insurers are permitted to provide additional information beyond these requirements. So we've got the minimum requirements. If insurers want to go above and beyond that, we're not going to limit them in that regard. And then sub 2, an insurer's premium change notice shall contain all information required under subsections 1 and sub 2, again, of ORS 836-054-0115. And then it gets into the licensed insurance company name, address, NAIC number, a notice date. Other items will be obviously the policyholder's name, policy type, policy number or policy period, and effective date. Again, pretty basic information. And then also information that instructs the insured how to contact the insurer if they have additional questions regarding the notice. And then sub 3, an insurer may use the following format for a premium change notice, or an insurer may submit for approval a notice that provides the information required under this section in a format that aligns with other documents that the insurer uses to communicate with their policyholders. Sub 3 came in because there's some folks that were saying, well, how much latitude do we have? And they had thought, well, what if we just filed it just to make sure everything was compliant? So I checked with Mr. Bredesen, who's on this call. He says that's more than fine. So any thoughts up to this point? Other than I think under sub 2, where it's insurer's premium change, probably needs to be possessive, but we can deal with the grammatical later on. So anything else with the context of this? Okay, we'll move to the next section then. Turn, please. So we changed this to the premium change explanation. This is a template of a form. Again, if insurers want to deviate too far from this, they can certainly file it for a review by this office. But we were looking at when someone calls up, hey, this is the additional information regarding factors that contributed most significantly to the premium increase applied to the above caption policy at renewal. And really, I should say they have to do it in writing to get this. Yes, Ken.
Thanks. So something we spotted in this, and it may be unnecessary to change if insurers are able to, file a form that's slightly altered from this. But the second bullet that starts your premium increased at renewal, and these are the factors that most significantly contributed, is kind of a repetitious statement after the first bullet. I'm not clear if that, in retrospect, is really necessary. And like I said, if an insurer is able to put together a premium change explanation that doesn't include that sentence, but still meets the requirements of the rule, then that's probably fine. But I thought I'd note it. It reads a bit like a repetition of the first bullet, and I'm not sure if it's necessary to have it there.
thanks for the input. Yeah, we're trying to get input from everyone, and that's why we're trying to expose it. But then, as stated, if this is a similar template. I think that by combining the 1 and 2, you're going to get there. We're just sticking with number 1. But then, sub bullet 3 there, explanation for each reason for your premium increase. And so insurers shall provide a clear and reasonable written explanation for the top factors that significantly contributes to the premium increase along with the corresponding explanation. So really, I think that kind of lines up all of the top bullets. But again, folks were wanting to have an example of what a premium change explanation form might look like. And then we also have kind of the catch-all down below. If you have questions, contact your insurance company, or maybe the insurance company wants you to contact your producer. So of course, we're trying to keep that optional because again, we don't want to disrupt that communication flow. And then also, what's that method? Is that going to be through phone, email? Do you have an app, a website, something like that? What is that communication channel or conduit, portal, what have you, to basically solicit or contact your producer one way or another? So, any other thoughts with this? Okay, Karen, we'll move on to the next page then. So periodic data reporting, we have a rule number. So we've got House Bill 2563, and number 8 there states in part the department shall adopt rules to implement the requirements of this section, including but not limited to rules requiring periodic data reporting from insurers that issue qualified policies to evaluate the impact of the required notices. So again, this is right out of statute. So we say in sub 2 that the rule applies to insurers that offer qualified policies as defined in section 2 of the House bill. Again, this is for private passenger auto and homeowners. And then if they've got combined written premium of the qualified lines, which is $1 million or greater for their calendar year being reported. And it looked like I had a quick chat pop up from Kenton. You said we can include this thought in our written comments as well, but I thought I'd throw out that it may be helpful for insurers if DFR produces an FAQ document or examples. And I think downstream we're going to have to, if we're going to have some sort of reporting form or what have you for intake. So typically, if we're going to be doing something going out, we'll have kind of a format. Where I'm going, I guess, is we don't want carrier A just emailing us at a certain time in a couple of years and saying these are the 15 people that reported, and I don't have a carrier name and I don't have an NAIC number or things like that. So there are going to be some things that will be kind of defined on intake. So I hope that covers that. But at least we're trying to say these are the factors or items that we're looking at. Would be the total number of qualified policies there on 3 sub A, as defined in section 2 of House Bill 2563, where a policy renewal offer was made during the reporting calendar year where the renewal term premium was greater than the prior term premium. Then B would be the total number of qualified policies where the premium increased from Group A above that submitted a written request. Okay, so where I'm going with this is, say you had 1,000 qualified policies where there's a renewal offer and rates went up. That'd be A. And then B would be, well, 10 people out of that population of 1,000 actually asked through a written request for an explanation for the premium increase. Then sub C is the percentage the premium increased for each policyholder from Group B above. So kind of the Kenton's point is, okay, well, what does that look like? Well, so if I had 10 people in my example, And one had a 5% rate increase, one had a 7% rate increase, one had 8%, one had a 9, what have you. That's kind of what we're looking at, is what is that percentage of premium increase kind of broken out by policyholder that requested information. So Ken, you have a comment, sir? I see your
Yes,
hand.
thank you. Sorry, I took a minute to get my mic turned on. In sub A, it continues to reference where a policy renewal offer was made as opposed to a renewal was made. And I don't know if there's a particular reason why DFR wants to capture policy renewal offers versus policies that were actually renewed. I'm just asking the question so I can find out why the differentiation there. I think we'd recommended in our previous comments to actually
the assumption is, okay, the offer was made, if you follow me, Ken. So, okay, the offer was made, my premium went from 1,000 to 1,200 for company A, okay? And so I asked for some information, okay, and I haven't renewed it yet. And then I shop around and I find out actually I could get a better deal from company B. Well, the whole idea is we're trying to find out how many people asked for a policy renewal. I'm assuming if they asked that they probably shopped around, but I don't have a way really to state that. But what we're trying to sort out was offers made, how many actually renewed, because you could have a circumstance where there was a significant increase, no one renewed. They may have asked for information, if you follow, but because the rate increase was so much, no one renewed with that company. And so therefore, we would be missing kind of a data point. So that's probably the clarity. Does that make sense, Kenton?
Yeah, I do understand the answer to the question. I was just trying to think while you were speaking about whether or not, if either data point is more accurate than another. I get what you're saying. You're trying to capture all the policies where a renewal offer went out, a renewal notice went out, and there was a premium increase. And whether the person renewed the policy or not, there was a premium increase. You're trying to capture the larger number of, okay. I get that.
And we're trying to find out really how many people asked or wrote in, I say asked, if they're making a written request for information that provides them some clarity. Now, I don't also want to be totally redundant because the market conduct annual statement that some of most of the companies, because that's got a premium threshold of 50,000, it tracks renewal information in there. What we're looking at primarily is how many policies were set for renewal, the offer was made, people asked through written comment for information. And then, like I said, of the people who asked, what was that premium increase for the policy holder? And then sub D would be any other data DCBS determines necessary. It's usually like the contact name of the people who submit, the name of the company, NAIC number, things like that. Because sometimes we do get companies that they will submit at the holding company level. And so if you've got under a holding company, 11 companies, they try to aggregate, shove everything together. We can't differentiate. So we want to make sure that when it's being reported that we know, in fact, what the entity is that's reporting. And then item 4 there, sub 4, impacted insurers shall submit or report information from the previous calendar year in a form and manner prescribed by DFR set forth in the department's website. And any other questions on that? And then, so Carolyn, if you move on to the next section. And so here, form and manner of written request. So House Bill 2563, again, sub 8 states in part, we will again adopt rules that clarify the form and manner the written request the insurer must respond to in subsection 2 of the section. The policyholder's written request must contain the following information, which is helpful: policy name, policyholder's name, their address, policy type, and policy number. The request needs to be printed, typewritten, or allegedly handwritten. I can't do it too clear if people can't read it. So, and then requests must be submitted by postal mail or email, or the manner that obviously the company specifies. So that's kind of the wrap up. So any other questions in regards to that? Okay. Then I think we can move to the statement of need and fiscal impact discussion. Okay, that works for you.
So I believe Karen, along with her draft rules, sent out the statement of need and fiscal impact. Hopefully you all had a chance to look that over. And now, as well as follow-up written input, will both be accepted. So I'm wondering if anyone has any comments they'd like to make concerning how adoption of these rules will affect equity in the state. Fiscal and economic impact. This would be interesting to have. Some of the trades are able to quantify this. I know this is one of the major objections. We'd welcome feedback in writing after this meeting as well. How about cost of compliance for small businesses? Any comments there? Okay. Any comments related to the form at all? Maybe you didn't have enough time to read it through it or not, but like I said, we welcome input after this meeting as well.
I just wanted to jump in to provide one other piece of context to this, which is the goal of this form is to specify all of the impacts that are expected from the rule, as opposed to the impacts of the underlying statute. So we'd be looking for impacts specifically for areas where the rule is kind of providing more details, or fleshing out or tweaking something in the underlying statute, rather than comments on the impact of the statute, although those are also welcome, and we usually say something about that as far as the context of the statement here as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Jesse. Any more discussion on the statement?
It doesn't sound like it. Okay. You want to open it up for public comment?
Yeah, now's time for open public comment, if we have any. Okay, so then I think next steps.
Nope. You've got Kenton hand up.
Oh, Ken, I'm sorry.
You knew I was going to say something.
It's all good, sir.
Okay, first public comment would be thank you for this process. It's been obviously challenging, but I appreciate the time that DFR has taken to walk through this thoughtfully with the industry and consumer advocate groups as well. I think we're approaching something that's, there might be some stumbling, but hopefully it will work smoothly and benefit consumers. I do want to say again, as I've mentioned before, the industry has some concern about an effective date of 4/1/2026, a compliance date in September, to put these forms together and start being prepared to keep track of the data and all the things that go along with the rule. It may be a challenge for insurers to meet the deadlines, and it would be helpful if the department can somehow respond. I know you're limited by what the statute says and the effective date in the statute. I understand that, but I think that insurers would be relieved to have some kind of statement from the department about what to do if the deadline is approaching and they're not able to, they're concerned they're not going to be able to be in full compliance by the time of the deadline. So this has come up repeatedly in comments we've received from our members. And I don't exactly know what leeway you have to be responsive to that, but I wanted to get it on record that it remains a concern.
Thank you, Ken. And not only is it on record, it's recorded as such. So thank you. So basically, I'll let Scott then finish up kind of the RAC comments and so forth. They're due for Friday, December 19th, 2025. And then the rulemaking public hearing is on February 24th, 2026. Didn't want to have it too close to the holidays. Public comments due on March 3rd of 2026. And then, yes, we got permanent rulemaking effective 4/1. Again, we're trying to put in some line that people would say, okay, yeah, we've got it in effect, but then when, things actually have to be filed. And I know like Washington State has something similar. So this rule is similar to some of the requirements that Washington State has, though not identical. So just kind of that thoughts. So Scott, any other thoughts, comments?
I think you got it.
Okay. Jesse, anything that I might need to look at?
That pretty much covered it. I did just want to say that we acknowledge that this does mean that there will be rulemaking activity going on during the short legislative session next year, which is not an optimal situation for any of us, but there isn't really a way around it given the timelines that we're working with. And if we were to put everything on hold during that period, then there'd be even less time for implementation. So I think this is probably the best that we're going to do.
Thank you much. And Karen, are we locked and set and got everything covered in our 38 minutes? All right. Well, thank you very much for everyone who was in this process. Thanks again for letting me kind of help pitch it while Scott was under the weather. But I think we made forward progress. And again, thank you for your time. And again, if you do have comments, you've seen those on the agenda as far as certain dates and so forth. So thank you very much for your time and efforts in this.
Yeah, thank you.